Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my performance review of the Puma MB.04. So of course this is Lamelo Ball's 4th signature shoe with Puma, and I don't know, like his entire signature shoe line looks exactly the same, you know what I mean? And I don't think they've changed the design really at all. It's just too chaotic in my personal opinion as far as the overall design goes. But of course, design and how the shoe looks has nothing to do with performance. How does this shoe perform when you're playing basketball? So this shoe retails for 125 bucks, which is a pretty dang good price. If you guys do want to cop it, try to leave in the free link in the description box. And it does help me out if you do choose to get this shoe to buy it through the free link in the description box or the product pictures underneath this video, or I try to leave a link right over here as well. But yeah, I mean, the MB1 was super nice. I really like the MB1. The MB2 was pretty dang nice as well. I really like the MB2. The 3 was hot garbage, dog doo-doo, dog water, terrible shoe. And then the MB4 we'll have to see on this shoe. But yeah, let's get it started off with the Trazione. So they're calling this the Puma grip outsole, right? So it's to have really good grip. It says not from here. We also have a UFO here at the tip of the toe with some fire here in the heel, and says rare. I'm like, it's so corny. I really what is this, you know what I mean? So either way, how is the traction? The traction is dog doo-doo. It's just really not good, right? So at first it was terrible. It was sliding around all over the place, and mind you, it's been really dusty for the past like month, right? So even where I usually play, and usually they keep it pretty clean, it's been pretty dang dusty there, right? And then the other gyms that I go to, which are way dirtier, are way dirtier now, you know? So it's been extremely dry. It's been extremely dusty out here in Cali. So yeah, at first it was really freaking bad. I just had terrible traction, but then I kept playing in it. I broke it in, and actually has a really good traction on a clean court, right? So if you're playing on a clean court, you have a really nice bite. Which surprised me, right? So you do need to break it in, but once you break it in, you get really good stops on a clean court, right? However, it's still really bad on dust, right? So first of all, it does pick up dust pretty quickly. It wasn't super fast, and I didn't need to wipe a crazy amount, but I still needed a wipe a good amount, which kind of sucked. And then you know, it was also a pretty easy wipe, which wasn't a huge deal, but again, like, it wouldn't bite through dust that well. So the dust performance just isn't like that great, you know what I mean? Like even when I was playing on a dusty court, like I would just get a couple of good stops, and then it would just start sliding around a good amount, and then I would need to wipe again. So it did pick up dust pretty dang quickly. But again, like it did improve. Like when I first got it, it was terrible, and then it did get better. It just never got great on dust, right? And then if you are playing on an outdoor court, I definitely don't feel like it'll be the best, because the rubber is actually kind of soft. The grooves are really thin too, so I don't think it'll be the best for outdoor use, right? So the traction is it's okay, right? Now moving on to the heel to toe transition, extremely smooth, right? So here in the heel we have a nice kind of like rounded shape, as well as a fully exposed kind of midsole, and it's really soft here for the foam. So that feels really smooth here in the heel. Moving here into the forefoot, we got a nice curved shape and a good amount of forefoot flex, right? And you do need to put a good amount of force into it, which does feel nice, and you get a little bit of springiness to it as well, which does feel nice. So overall, very smooth for the shape. And then once you come here into the forefoot, out of your kind of like first step or doing heel dominant strides down the court, you do get a little bit of springiness, which does feel nice, right? So heel to toe transition, very nice. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. So the cushioning setup is really nice, right? So you get a very well cushioned shoe, right? But then for me personally, it's a little bit too cushion, you know what I mean? Because I am a guard, I do like a lower to the ground feel, and obviously Melo is a guard, so I guess he just likes more cushion, which of course that's fine, right? It all depends on what your preference is and what you like. But for me personally, I think this shoe has too much cushion, in the sense of like it's just too high up off the ground, right? I want more court feel. So yeah, it's just really high up off the ground here in the heel. The forefoot obviously gets a little bit lower to the ground, but still not the best for court feel. You do have a very high offset as well. But again, like I said, you have a good amount of compression. They are using nitrofoam, so it does feel very soft here in the heel, which does feel nice. Overall step and comfort is okay, you know what I mean? So first of all, the step and comfort when you first get it is really nice, because the insole is really thick, right? So you get a good amount of compression from the actual insole, which does feel nice. But once you bottom that out, it gets a little bit stiffer, right? And if you look underneath that, we have a pretty stiff strobel board. So the underfoot cushion isn't super nice. However, once you break it in, the stroke board gets a little bit softer. You can feel the nitro foam a little bit underneath your foot, but it's not as nice as like a drop-in midsole or kind of like a soft mesh stroke board setup. But again, it's still pretty nice, right? Overall impact protection is really good. Heel strikes, you're good to go. My heel didn't hurt at all when I was doing heel strikes, and also landing harder than the forefoot, I didn't really have any issues with that. So overall impact protection is really good in this shoe. Again, like super comfortable, great compression. It's very, very soft. It's not super bouncy, however. You don't get a lot of bounce from the actual cushion, but again, the core feel is terrible, right? So for me personally, like usually I don't mind like a higher setup if it has better impact protection, but I think it's just for me, I think it's just a little bit too high. Yeah, that kind of sucks. And if you like a lot of cushion, you know, and it's not like I was feeling slow or anything, it's just my personal preference. But again, if you want a softer, very comfortable cushioning setup with great impact protection, this is a really nice setup, right? So there's a cushioning setup there. Moving on to the upper. So the upper, they're using like a textile material, right? You can see like this textile here on the medial and lateral side, you know what I mean? But we have a lot of overlays, and it's a pretty nice overlay material. It's kind of like a rubbery type of fuse, you know what I mean? Like rubbery type of synthetic material, which I do like. It doesn't feel cheap or anything. It actually feels pretty nice for the quality. It's just way too much for the design. It says lover here and it says 1 of 1. It's just too much. But overall here, the toe box is still really, really thin, but also very, very supportive, and also does feel pretty like structurally sound. It doesn't feel super flimsy or anything like that. And it conforms your foot extremely well. And even when I first got it, it wasn't really like pinching or hurting my foot at all. So I really like the material here in the toe box, as well as here in the midfoot. And then for the tongue, we actually have a good amount of padding, which feels great, right? And all of his shoes, you have a very thick and plush tongue, which feels great on top of your foot. It's also a half booty construction tongue, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit. And then here in the ankle area, we have a good amount of padding as well, which feels very plush. So I really like the upper, you know what I mean? So quality for 125 bucks is actually pretty nice in my personal opinion. It's thin, it's minimal here in the toe box, but also gets really kind of like thick and plush here in the ankle area, right? And then here in the heel, there seems to be an internal TPU heel counter. So yeah, the material is very, very nice. Now moving on to the fit. So the fit is terrible for me, right? So I went true to size, and I went true to size for all of his shoes, like the MB.1, 2, and 3, and they all fit me really nice, pretty much like a glove, very, very snug fit, right? But the MB.04, I think they made it a little bit shorter for this shoe, right? So yeah, lengthwise, it's freaking short, right? So my toes go very, very close to the edge of the shoe, which again, I usually wouldn't mind that, but then also here in the toe box is freaking really, really snug, right? And I could definitely feel it even in my big toes, like my toenail, like my big toenail. Like when I would do like a really hard stop, it would just really like be uncomfortable right over here, right? And I felt a lot of pressure there, which did not feel good for the fit. So, and also width-wise, it is slightly narrow, right? I didn't really have a huge issue with the width. It's just the snugness here in the toe box as well as the length. So yeah, I would suggest going up half a size for like most people, you know what I mean? So yeah, like when I first got it, I really liked the fit. Like I didn't really mind it all too much, but then once I started playing and I started like stopping, and it would just really bother my big toe. So again, I would recommend going up half a size. Maybe they didn't make it shorter. I'm guessing maybe it might be because of the padding here in the ankle area. It's just so thick. Maybe that's like what's pushing my foot forward a little bit inside of the shoe. So either way, I really didn't like the fit, right? And now moving on to the support and lockdown. Overall support and lockdown was pretty dang good, right? So for lateral containment, I was good to go. My foot was not coming out of the footbed. The overall material is pretty structurally sound, as well as like it feels supportive, you know? And then here in the forefoot, we have this plastic piece coming up acting as a sidewall. And here in the heel, we have an internal TPU heel counter. So I didn't have any issues with my foot coming out of the footbed, as well as like, you know, like I said, this overall upper is structurally supportive. And then lateral stability, it's not the best, you know what I mean? So first of all, there's no outrigger, right? So it's not really laterally like super stable here in the forefoot, right? So let's compare it to like this shoe, the LeBron 22. Right, which actually has a pretty nice outrigger, right? So you can see just how much wider the LeBron 22 is, you know what I mean? So because of this outrigger. So with that, as well as this shoe being kind of high up off the ground, as well as the heel cushion being pretty soft, this shoe just didn't feel super laterally stable to me. You know what I mean? When I was playing it. So yeah, it felt a little bit unstable. Again, it wasn't terrible. It just felt a little kind of unstable comparing it to other shoes that I was playing in. You know what I mean? Overall, lockdown was really good though. You know what I mean? I didn't really have any heel slippage or anything like that. And because of the really tight fit, my foot wasn't really moving inside of the shoe. It's just laterally a little bit unstable, right? So there's a supporting lockdown there. Moving on to the weight of the shoe. This shoe, I don't know. I feel like it'll be a little bit heavier than the average, right? Yeah, 13.5 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 13.5 ounces. So the average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces. So it's like an ounce heavier than average. And yeah, that probably has to do with the nitro foam. Yeah, Puma definitely, again, I say this in every Puma basketball shoe review. They need to do some R&D and give us some better cushioning setups or like foams, because nitro foam, although it is soft and nice, it's really heavy. You know what I mean? It's a very high density, so it adds a lot of weight to the shoe, and also it's not super bouncy. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they can make a foam that's a little bit bouncier and also way lighter in density. Like, for example, like Nike, Lunarlon, React, or all Zoom X are all really, really lightweight foams. So yeah, Puma needs to do something different. You know what I mean? But either way, yeah, this shoe feels not the most responsive, because when I was playing on a dusty court, the traction was not sticking. The cushion is way high up off the ground and feels a little laterally unstable. You know what I mean? So, and also the fit, I mean, that really didn't, you know, have anything to do with responsiveness. It's just really uncomfortable for me when I was playing it. So yeah, there's that. Moving on to the ventilation. Nope. You have a lot of padding here in the back of the shoe, and there's no airflow through this. So this shoe is actually pretty warm. And aesthetically, not a huge fan, honestly. It's just, yeah, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Like, it says mellow. There's just, it literally just looks like a kid's shoe to me. You know what I mean? It's just too much for the designs, too crazy for me personally. I'm more of like a simple design kind of guy, but I feel like Melo just likes this type of shoe or design, I guess. So it's his shoe, so he can do whatever he wants. But in my personal opinion, not my favorite design. Tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, yeah. So yeah, it definitely wasn't my favorite shoe. And I definitely feel like there is a market for it though. So if you want a really comfortable and cozy shoe, I definitely feel like you would like this shoe. You know what I mean? But again, like for me, I think it's a little bit too much, you know? It feels a little bit bulky as well because of all this foam. Again, I usually like that, but I feel like all that combined with the terrible court feel and really bad traction just made me not like this shoe as much, you know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely feel like, again, there is a market for this shoe. Like, I definitely feel like there's an audience for it, but I feel like if you're a guard, it's definitely not the best option. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have the best traction. The cushion's high up off the ground. And again, laterally, it's a little bit unstable. And it does feel a little bit heavy and also a little bit bulky, you know? So definitely not the best shoe for guards, but again, if you want a really comfortable and very cozy shoe, this is a good option, right? But for me, like, I definitely really didn't like playing the shoe that much, right? So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the Puma MB.04. Again, if you guys do want to copy, try to leave in the free link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.